I should keep my hair in a ponytail. There we go. Hello. I wonder if I can. My babies. All right. Let's get this party started. It's cold, but I have to fight the cold. We are conquering the cold. We are, and it's really not even that cold, but I am such a tropical baby. I need it to be at least 80 some odd degrees all year round in order to be like healthy and wealthy. Thought about taking my hair down out of the ponytail for the live, but I think I'm gonna just rock it this way. It's giving corporate. It's giving here for the conversation. Okay, so what's happening tonight, or early this morning rather, is we are going over the second weekly briefing for the EEVH Restoration Network in light of the world changes and how we collectively need to start aligning ourselves with our best interests and then also the best interests of the environment so that we don't get cut off and left behind, because that's really what it is at this point. So there are, again, a couple of topics that I want to be able to cover with you guys and get some feedback. The recording will be posted on our YouTube page for review afterwards. But I'm just going to go and wing it on these notes. If you have questions while I go through the... Okay. Don't you hate it when people are doing a live, but they are so distracted by the comments? It's like, girl, could you just read or do whatever you go do? Bump what they do. Anyway. So I like to keep, even though the world is kind of collapsing in a way, and things are changing and people are dying and people are getting sick and there are wars ensuing and stuff, forget it. Not necessarily forget it, but I like to keep a happy and positive energy, because until it reaches my door, I'm going to live every moment as if it is truly a blessing, because it is. And that's, it's like laugh in order to not cry. But anyway, the EEVH Restoration Network is a conglomerate of multifaceted creatives that have an interest in the evolution and ascension of themselves and also the conscious collective. So what we do is we work in corporate America, if you would, but through our intuitive skill sets. So for example, I'm a metaphysician. I'm also a natural hair care stylist. I'm also a yogi. I'm also a business consultant, so forth and so on. And I've monetized those abilities to be able to support myself. But then I also offer them to the collective to be able to advance the conscious community so that we can kind of all move away from the 9-to-5 matrix framework and start populating and localizing heavens on earth individually and then collectively, and we also teach other people how to do that as well. So if you no longer want to be confined to the 9-to-5 matrix and you want to start supporting yourself based off of the intuitive skill sets that you have, then just reach out and join, and we will teach you exactly how to do that. All right, so the first topic of discussion that I really want to get into is sovereignty. There is a lot of talk about, I don't know if you are familiar with sovereignty or what it really is, but there's a lot of talk about sovereignty online and in the conscious communities. And most of the time, the rhetoric is about your birth certificate. It's about the legalities of the U.S. corporation. It's about stuff like that. When in all actuality, sovereignty is an innate and sentient energy. Is something that is derived and developed from within first and then expressed outwardly. And what has happened is those who have been in places of power, positions of power, have taken the principles and the foundations of sovereignty and put gratitude and put legality around it to be able to benefit from the principle itself. So sovereignty, the way that you can identify sovereignty within yourself is begin to go within to identify yourself, right? So a lot of times we don't even know who we are. For real. We don't know who we are because we're so busy going to work. We're so busy following suit from what our family or our friends or our spouses tell us that we should be doing. So busy keeping ourselves in line with cultural or religious beliefs, things like that. So we don't really have the time to be able to sit and meditate on who we really are, what our true identity looks like, so forth and so on. But that's absolutely what you have to do in order to not only understand what sovereignty is about, how sovereign you actually are as a sentient being, and then how to express that. So if you want to, again, remove yourself from the dizziness of the world, from the constraints and confinements of the matrix, you have to sit with yourself and reclaim your own peace and your mind and your spirit from the siphoning outside of you, because that's really what it is. Everything outside of you is siphoning your energy, whether that be your money, that be your heart energy, the stability of your mind, your energetic balance. Like all of the ways the world outside of you has been a perfect mechanism for stealing your light, your source, which is the heart of your sovereignty. So sitting with yourself and identifying exactly who you are is going to be your first step to sovereignty. What is and is not in your best interest. So once you figured out who you are, along that process, you would have identified the things that are within you and outside of you that are and are not in your best interest. It's really simple, guys. I really want to be studious about it and like go down the list of things that I've written, but it's annoying me because I would rather just like speak plainly with you and say, cut the shit, right? Stop eating the Cheetos, stop eating the pork rinds, start growing food, take care of yourself. Spend time with yourself to determine what is and is not in your best interest, and be an adult and be sovereign and start making those decisions that you know are in your best interest consistently, so that you can assert yourself and express yourself with authenticity and be respected for it, and then be able to create a lasting foundation on top of that. That's what I really want to say. But back to the notes, right? Are you willing to demand and defend your self-identification and requirements for those things that are in your best interest and refusal to what is not? Why is any of this important in the first place? The reason that it's important is because, like I said when I first got on, is war is ensuing. And depending on where you find yourself, when it gets to your door, will determine your life moving forward. I'm sure that some of you have probably heard about concentration camps and smart cities, and if not, all they are concentrated areas where they can continue to control a population, an intentionally numbered population, because to the elites, to the higher ups, to the governmental structures, we are chattel, we are cattle, we are livestock to be used to fuel their systems for their own gratification. So if you want to put an end to that, if you no longer want to be in the slaughterhouse, you have to realize that you are not chattel, and then you have to be able to assert yourself the right way. And honestly, it's not with a whole lot of paperwork. Again, a lot of people talk about the birth certificate. A lot of people talk about the IRS, the UCCs, the power of attorneys. All of that is a waste, because it just loops you in a, it doesn't really work. What really works is you understanding who and what you are as a sentient being. Like, we are truly spirits within a physical realm, and there is nothing that is above us. Each one of us is our own God, goddess, king, queen of our reality. So nobody has power of attorney or authority or governance over you unless you allow it. And that is the power that comes from true sovereignty. But how do you express that from within and then assert that to those that want to challenge that? Well, we can talk about that at another time. But I'm just giving you the fundamentals to be able to go within, to start to identify that within yourself, because it's not just something that you can put on paper and say, look, I filed this. No. Your spirit has to speak for you, and then the spiritual realm has to go to work in support of you, because they understand and they agree with how you move in. So yeah, best interest, what's in your best interest, and are you willing to stand on that? Are you willing to stand 10 toes down on that, even if it means your life being put on the line or your freedoms being put on the line? Like, are you willing to go to bat, to war for yourself? You know, or do you want to just like avoid the headache and fall in line with the rest of the chattel? It's really very simple. But that's where life is going. That's where life is. That's why internationally you see people standing up against governments, because they don't want to be chattel anymore. They are overthrowing governments everywhere. They are protesting. They are killing. Like, people are tired. We should be too. You know, pretty soon Walmart is not going to be there for your frozen shrimp. Oh, I am so annoyed. I am so annoyed with the American culture. Like, we are so retarded. We are so lazy. We are horrible consumers and are not self-accountable enough to start giving back to the environment and helping ourselves. All right. Simulation. The simulation is the next topic of discussion. We absolutely are in a simulation. It's not in a sense where we are necessarily plugged into like a game system, but instead, those who have created the construct of our reality have placed pieces in certain places intentionally to create a chemical and mental equation of a simulation. So, for example, it's like a maze of a reality. If you were placed in a box, and the walls were 3D screens, and they put real plants in the room, and for 15-20 minutes they ran a simulation of a reality, unless you did like some major digging on your environment, you really wouldn't even know that you were in a box with 3D walls and plants. And that's the type of simulation that we're experiencing, not necessarily a plug-in electronic game. Because as soon as you expire, meaning as soon as your physical body expires, your spirit, which is who you truly are, goes back to the source of all. And then you are energetically recycled to be able to come back in another form, so forth and so on. So the simulation, it can absolutely be done away with. Evolution and the experiential exercise. All right, evolution and the experiential exercise of the human consciousness. Bam. Okay. All of this is a learning exercise for you, because we've had so many lives prior to where we are now. And in each one of them, you've collected data, you've collected experiential knowledge, tools, talents, so forth and so on, leading up to now. Now, the time that we're living in now is a time that we've never lived in before in history. It's like the world is going back to its most natural form, slowly but absolutely surely. So the simulation that we're experiencing will no longer be the case, but understanding that it was in its place for like the purpose of the elite, but also it benefits. It's like the yin and yang of every situation. So that experiential knowledge and that evolution is what benefits you out of being a part of the simulation. But then also, you know, the yang of it. Have fun. Pick it up where you are. This is a good part. So there can be really scary psychodegenerative realities or realizations that come with understanding that you're in a simulation and that life is not actually what you perceive it to be. You may feel stuck. You may feel under attack. You may have small schizophrenic experiences. You may not know who you can trust. You may not know what to do. But if you are not your body, and instead a spirit within a fleshly body, then have fun. Pick it up from wherever you are, from whatever mental state that you are at. Pick it up from there. Use what you have right there in that moment. Realize that you're not on fire. War is not ensuing outside of you, and that you have the power to be able to reconstruct your current situation into whatever you like, as long as you reclaim your peace and become creative about being that co-creator with Source and changing your environment and your situations. It just takes one box at a time, one day at a time. All you have to do is get through today the best way that you can with what you have. That's really your only responsibility. And the more you start to do that, the more capable you become, the more knowledgeable you become. That's the part of the simulation that feels like a game. It's like role-playing games. You know, you stumble across things along your journey and you add them to your sack. You sharpen your tools. You learn things. You meet the right people. You go through scary paths and you come out like Kamehamehas, like the whole thing. That's the game aspect of the simulation, but that's actually the journey, the yellow brick road that you absolutely need for that experiential knowledge and that evolution. So when it gets scary and when you are unsure of what the fuck is going on, just pick it up from where you are, reclaim your peace, and then work from there. One box, one day at a time. Okay? Financial independence. Right now, I meet so many people who want to remove themselves from the 9-to-5 matrix, who want to get out of the cycle of waking up to go to work to do something that they absolutely hate just to be able to pay for a roof over their head or take care of their kids. But they don't want to suffer in the process. A lot of them feel like, okay, let me just work a little bit so I can save up some money so that way I'm comfortable while I try to create my, stability outside of. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's never going to work because what happens is you start to rely on your financial security to be the foundation of your stability for a world that you're trying to create outside of something that you've never known. Outside of something that you're used to, but you're going into something that you've never known. The world outside of the simulation is all about spiritual security and a connection to an irremovable abundance that comes from nature. So money, that's not going to do it. Money is not going to do it. If your true desire is to just say, fuck it, I want my life, I want my peace of mind, and I want to do what I love, then you have to just break away. You have to go cold turkey. There is no harmonious transition. It's like the analogy of the glass of water with a little bit of poison. Oh, it's a full glass of water. It's just a little bit of poison. Yeah, but that little bit of poison will absolutely kill you. So it's either, do you want to continue to be chattel? Do you want to continue to subject yourself to something that you know is siphoning your life force? Or do you want to just cut the cord, cut the connection, and then start to learn and to build your true security and your true identity through source and nature, and then watch how that supports you in a much better way than anything you've ever experienced prior. You have to go cold turkey. So financial independence outside of the 9-to-5 matrix looks like you identifying who you are, what your intuitive skill sets and talents are, mastering them to the point of consistent exercise, and then monetizing them as your offering to the collective. For example, I am a metaphysician. This is something that I've studied over the years, being outside of the 9-to-5 matrix. And now I'm able to commune with other souls, raise their conscious conception of reality, equip them with the tools that they need to be able to identify themselves, and then also teach them how to monetize their intuitive gifts. That's something that I can do because I practiced it myself, but then I also put a price to it so that I am able to receive in the equal exchange and care for myself. Also, a beautiful part of the independence of being able to take care of yourself is it doesn't always have the exchange doesn't always have to be financial. You can absolutely tap into the energy of trade and barter again, which is something that the Restoration Network encourages and creates systems to be able to do. So for example, every multifaceted creative that's involved with the network has a system where they're able to market their services, market their intuitive skill sets that they offer to the collective. But then also, if anyone who wants to exchange with them doesn't have the financial requirement, they have options to be able to trade or barter. So if you're looking for someone to do some work on your home, offer them something that you have. Open up contract, open up exchange, open up negotiations, hopping into the frequency of being okay with supporting each other again, just to be able to reach the baseline of survival and communal love. Like, we don't have community and things anymore because everybody is making their own dollar and they think that they got it, and they think that at the end of the day that's what's going to support them. But absolutely not. Absolutely not. It takes a tribe, a village. I'm so sorry. I hope it's not too overwhelming. I'm kind of just going with the flow here. But my heartfelt passion, again, watch this. My passion is to be able to connect with you. I want you to be able to energetically and consciously perceive me, so that I can help guide your consciousness to a space where you feel entirely equipped and courageous enough to leave the world behind and trust the divine to take care of you, because that's absolutely what will happen. Boom. Did you feel that? Cut it out. That is what I love to do. I love to sit with people and bring them out of darkness and equip them with everything that they need to be able to stand up to the demons of life. Because we were placed here on this realm as an inheritance, because everything here is absolutely magical and we have access to it. All we have to do is remove all of the things from us that equate to something in opposition of nature itself. All right, community and tribe. Oh, I was just talking about that, and that's the next topic. Okay, community and tribe. Align your heart and habits with your true identity. So, once you've gone through the motions of figuring out who you are, what your best interests are, what your intuitive skill sets are, what you most resonate with, when you start to consistently exercise that, you will automatically magnetize, you will automatically attract those that are also in alignment with how you get down, with your vibration. That's how energy works. If you've ever watched the movie Finding Nemo, all the turtles, if you noticed, the way that they swam created a vibration within the waters that created a capsule of a highway for all of them to coast on the same energy and vibration and speed. So just by one of them doing what they do, they created a currency within the water that equated to who and what they were. And then once they got in contact with another turtle, obviously they're the same, they also did what they naturally do, and that expanded that vibration, that expanded that currency, which allowed more of them to come and then co-created that highway of a flow. You notice that once they jumped into that highway, the speed was faster, the energy was higher, the frequency was different, the heart energy was more loving and understanding. Yeah, dude, like all of that. So finding your community and your tribe is not an effort. It's not something that you have to go out and do. It comes naturally because the world outside of you, the universe, spirit, the divine, your highest self, they all want you to be elated with life. Everybody wants you to enjoy your life. Accept your opposition, obviously. So all you have to do, they make the most simple things seem the most difficult. All you really have to do is get down how you get down and be consistent with that. And eventually you will find, or you will be attracted to, or you will magnetize your community and your tribe. And then just keep that same energy and allow yourself to gracefully evolve. What that means is you may find yourself in one community for some time, but while you're continuing to learn yourself, while you're continuing to evolve, mastering yourself, you may switch environments, you may switch communities, and you do that with grace, giving yourself the opportunity to be wrong, to be right, to be here, to be there. That's evolution, that's ascension. So understand that just because you feel like you may have found your community, that may not be like the case forever. For example, I spent 2.5 years with the Moorish community writing legislation for a Moroccan government. Absolutely loved the environment because I was learning and practicing international law. But when you're dealing with politics, that shit gets really nasty. And that is not a vibration that is in harmony with my heart energy and how I want to get down with the people around me. So thank you so much for the experiential knowledge, but I'm moving on. You see, so evolution and ascension means that you may come in contact with a community that you feel so connected to, and you may spend some consecutive time there, but give yourself grace to be able to evolve and shift through life. You know, again, you've had multiple lives, which means you were many different things in your past lives for a very specific reason, which equated to who and what you are today. One moment. Politics. Okay, awesome. I don't want to read. I do want to read all of them, but at the same time, my phone's about to die, so I need to get this out. Thank you guys for the love and the energy. Energetic exchange is what keeps us alive, for real, for real. Community. Yes, we need each other. Oh, that's exactly what I was just saying. We need each other. Man does not live by bread alone. That's such a profound statement because it's really not what keeps you alive. The biochemics and the intelligence of the human body is able to transform itself to whatever form is necessary to keep it alive. And in most cases, what causes its expiration is our habitual acts of degeneration, or our thoughts, our words, which equate to our thoughts, or our thoughts, which equate to our words. Like when you say, oh, I'm sick, you're telling your biochemical intelligence to start degenerating. You are God. You are God. You are God. You are God. Don't you know that ye yourselves are temples of the Most High, which means that inside of your flesh suit, the Most High resides, lives, and is exercised through you. You are an individual sentient being. So, the human body can survive off of air and sunlight. It can regenerate itself off of the natural resources around you, as long as you know how to go through peacefully the evolution of that chemical and biochemical change. I'm not saying that this is something that you need to do. I'm saying that man does not live by bread alone. And if we want to be communally happy, if we want to see a world where you see different variations of people's heavens on earth, if you want to be able to live somewhere off grid, but then take a hike 2 miles down the street and see another beautiful kingdom of a whole reality that someone else has built, then that means that we need to start loving ourselves and we need to start loving each other again. Give freely. Don't be selfish with your resources, because at the end of the day, your resources mean shit. You understand? So, I gotta watch my back, yeah, we need each other. We need each other, especially right now. We have to hold hands and say, fuck the system. And, go spirit. All right. War only happens in the mind. We are separate from others' chaos. Bam. That's beautiful, because right now there was like a new law that was, I don't even want to call it a law, but a mandate, if you would, that was passed out, basically saying that men and now women of a certain age are required to enlist in the army and the military to be able to fight the wars of the U.S. government. That ain't got nothing to do with me. The contracts and the negotiations and the sour sopping that you've done in your politics have nothing to do with me. I ain't talked to nobody. I ain't offended nobody, so forth and so on. And this is why your sovereignty, your self-identification, your separateness, your individuality of spirit and mind and body are so important, because you need to know that so that you can assert yourself to ensure that you are separate from the chaos that ensues around and outside of you. There is no war ensuing within me, so why am I going to war? You understand? So if we can come together, and there are some of us who know how to properly assert ourselves legally to ensure that our sovereignty is held and respected. And if we can come together in light and love, then we can teach each other how to identify ourselves and how to assert our sovereignty so that we are not impeded upon by the chaos that ensues around us. You understand? So no, there is no war ensuing, except the one that you accept within your heart and your mind. Communal living, this is a beautiful one, because it kind of speaks to the fact that I'm sitting in a parking lot right now. Yeah, I'm sitting in a parking lot right now. A very important thing to take in consideration when you are considering leaving the 9 to 5 matrix is that the same resources that you were able to rely on prior to are not going to be the same ones that you're going to have to rely on moving within your transition. So for example, if you have an apartment, what are you doing? You're paying every 30 days to be able to be in that apartment, which means that you have to consistently make money to get to the apartment so that you can have a door to unlock every 30 days. So if you are removing yourself from the exercise, from the worship of work, then that means that you are now falling in line with a new cycle of how you want to play and how you want to make your money. And the same type of consistency of the 30 days and the same type of currency exchange and the same type of amount of resource that you receive will be absolutely different. So when it comes to us working together and being able to develop communal living for those who don't want to be a part of the same matrix construct, looks like tiny homes. You know, if for those who have a little bit of change somewhere, invest in a box home, invest in a pre-built tiny home, invest in a shed that you can build out. Start thinking creatively. You know, what is a picket fence and a white house and a dog? The dog is a dog. It can feed itself, you know, like we don't need emotional support that much. You should be able to stand within yourself. It's time to be sovereign. You know, the animals are sentient beings. They don't have pets. You know, we really have some issues that we need to work through as a collective. So remove your ideas of feeling like you absolutely need the stuff that you have, because you don't. Communal living, tiny homes. Car lots. A lot of people that I've met who are making that transition are finding comfort in living in their car, becoming minimalists, keeping it clean, creating a cycle, a process, being very organized, so forth and so on. So for those of us who have the for those of us that can acquire lots to make specifically for those who are living in their cars, you have safety then, and you have community again, and you have like a home space that you can go to consistently because your car is your home. You know, you can remove the seats out of a car and start building into it just like a tiny home. It's all about having that community to help you with the creativity and the ideas and the expansiveness and the builds, so forth and so on. Communal living looks like camping sites, you know, purchasing lots of land and creating tent living. That's communal living again. We don't have to do this by ourselves. This is why we need each other, because we all truly want to say fuck it. So if you truly want to say fuck it, then that means that you have to release your pride and everything that you're used to and start holding the hands of your neighbors, because we need each other. Okay? Communal living looks like, join the effort. So for these things that the car lots, the parking, the campsites, and the tiny home communities, it takes communal effort. So if this is something that you're interested in joining a collective to help establish, reach out to the network, EEVH.net. EEVE.net, the EVE Restoration Network. We are doing this all the time around the clock. We are having regular meetings, and we are being very communal and loving and leaving the constructs of what we are used to, because we have said fuck it. And we have seen the power and the value in ourselves and in our sovereignty. And we know that communally we can create a whole new world. So yeah. Agriculture, we're almost there. I think I got a little bit more juice in my phone. Hopefully we can get through these. Alien superstar, you an agent? Who an agent? You know, agents always finding their way up and through here. Somebody tried to set me up last time. Whatever. Thank you for identifying them. Anyway, agriculture. So a lot of us are experiencing fake food right now within the grocery stores, or recalls on things. All of that is intentional to be able to put a tighter restraint on what we have access to consuming, because our food is supposed to be our life source. And if you're consuming something that's good for you, then that means that you are a good thinker. If you're consuming something that's good for you, then that means that you are expanding your lifeline. If you're consuming something that's good for you, then that means that you're not sick and you're not feeding into the medical industry. But that's not what they want. They want you to be in a state of fogginess mentally. They want you to be in a state of disarray emotionally. And they want you to be in a state of weakness physically, so that the medical industry is taken care of, right? So that they can maintain a level of control, because you can't think for yourself. You can't assert yourself properly, so forth and so on. You know, that's maintaining control over a population. So the things that we're experiencing as far as our food is, of course, intentional. But if you are a sovereign being, if you understand what's in your best interest, then that means that you are willing to initiate what you know is in your best interest. You're willing to get up and do the necessary action. Learn about clean food. Learn how to grow clean food. Learn how to create ease with your access to clean food. So something that the Restoration Network is doing right now is partnering with small community gardens to be able to localize clean agriculture. So, for example, imagine every 10 miles there is a beautiful community garden that everybody within that 10-mile radius can go to be able to access clean agriculture, access clean foods, but then also communally help in keeping those lands up, communally help in keeping those lands healthy, communally help, and so forth and so on. So no longer do we have to feel like we have to go to the grocery store, we have to go to Walmart for the simple things that we need. We don't have to feel like our food is contaminated, because who we are getting our food from and where we're getting our food from is a trusted source, right? We're loving each other again, which means we're tapping into ourselves and our intuition to be able to sense the energies and the intentions of those that we work with, of those that we are neighbored to. So just like back in the day when you used to move into a new neighborhood, and the people that were in your neighborhood would cook for you, and they would bring it to your door. Hey, Mr. Mary, yada yada, made a sweet potato pie, right? But it was her energy. You were able to perceive her energy, which made you feel okay with accepting a stranger's food. You know, so it's us being able to be communal again, being able to be self-loving, so that we can identify how to love others. And then we can also use our intuition to know when and where to apply ourselves or extend ourselves. So agriculture, localizing it ideally every 10 miles. Because sooner or later, our access to food, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people are getting very comfortable with just ordering their groceries. So who's to say 5 years down the line, our grocery stores are not going to look like Amazon, where we absolutely have to get on an app and order our stuff? Insanity. I do not look forward to a day where I can't go to a place, a market, tap on my own cantaloupe to ensure that it's sweet and it's hollow before I pay for it and bring it home. You understand what I'm saying? The beauty and the enrichment of our life experience needs to be safeguarded. It needs to be restored, restoration. We need to be released from our psychosis. We need to be unlazied. We need to be re-tapped in to nature and life So localizing clean agriculture is absolutely in our best interest. We cannot think that the resolution is running away into the woods with maybe 15, 20 more people and creating a community. That's not going to work. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of the resources and the relationships that you need in order to be sustained with longevity. You're going to run out of the love because you're going to be in survival and you're going to be skeptical of the outside world. Whereas if we all say, fuck it, and we work together, then the outside world is no longer a thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Harmonizing your diet with the best interests of your individual body. There is a book called Eat for Your Blood Type. I absolutely love it because through experiential knowledge, it has a lot of truths, and it's beautiful for those who want to learn about themselves, their blood type, but then also create a diet that supports their body and then the bodies of their family members. For example, when I was consuming meat in my past, I loved lamb, I loved salmon, I loved snapper. Give me some goat, right? Goat cheese, cherries, grapefruit. I get this book, and then I identify my blood type, and everything that I'm intuitively, I naturally have an affinity for is underneath my blood type. Insanity. It's so beautiful how if we just take a moment to self-identify, we can start learning the biochemical construct of ourselves without even realizing it, and then being able to validate that through research and study. But it's empowering so that at the same time, you know that there are things that are absolutely toxic to you. Like chicken wings, I would tear up, but that's absolutely toxic to my blood type. And it created a disgusting acidic film within my lining, which helped me to become sick, which caused me to have mental fogness, which affected my eyesight, so forth and so on. So even though we may feel like we like certain things, if we are operating within our sovereignty, and if we're honoring our bodies and we're honoring our spirits and we're honoring our ancestors, then we are strong enough to refrain from those things that we know are not in our best interest. So aligning your heart and your mind and your strength and your sovereignty to only taking in what you know is in your best interest is absolutely an exercise that I will encourage. Also, geographics has a lot to do with the food that you intake in the clean agriculture. A lot of us are misplaced geographically. Natural selection. Natural selection in science is basically saying that there are certain types of plants and beings that naturally grow in certain areas because geographically that space is best suited for that form, that being, whatever it is, that plant. The sunlight is perfect. The water type and minerals within the water are perfect. The access to what feeds whatever is there is perfect, so forth and so on. So within the U.S., a lot of us are misplaced geographically. We are not where we should be energetically or physically to be able to feed ourselves. For example, I am tropical. My family is Caribbean, but I'm also native to spaces over here, which is why I can kind of dibble dabble, but I absolutely need sunlight. I need a lot more sunlight than the average person. Look at my skin. I need sunlight and warmth and water and tropical fruits like mangoes and key limes and kiwis and things like that, and soursop. I literally have to order boxes of food from the tropical spaces and get them shipped over here just to be able to maintain a healthy diet. Insanity. Whereas if I start moving in harmony with what's in my best interest, ultimately I will end up in the geographical location that is best suited for my spirit's expression, right? So yes, take that into consideration, getting in touch to know what and who you are, so that way you can find your space, so that way you can start to co-create with the Creator, your heaven on earth. I think that's it for agriculture. Let me make sure. We're almost done. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. People down here think I'm crazy, but I don't care. Trials and tribulations. All right, home gardens. Oh, welcome. Home gardens. So until we get to a space, which we will get to a space because my word is bond, that's how much I trust the sentient energy within me. So ultimately, what I envision will come to pass. Asheo. Look at it. Red truck passes. That's absolute confirmation. So until we get to the space where we can start benefiting from localized agricultural gardens communally within a certain, mile radius, learning how to go to the grocery store and grab certain things and then create small gardens in your home space is also extremely beneficial, especially right now since energetically things are shifting so much. We really need to start practicing fasting, so you really don't even need to be taking in most of the food, most of the stuff that's at the grocery store. But like home gardens, something that takes up the space of like a 5x5 in a beautiful sunlit area within your home or on a countertop. There are multifaceted creatives connected to the Eve Restoration Network that absolutely know how to do this and can teach this to the collective, teach you how to go to the grocery store, exactly what to get, how to put it inside of the proper containers, and how to maintain it so that you have a growing garden system within your own home, so that you don't have to financially and energetically extend yourself and expend yourself with the outside world just to be able to survive. This world was given to you for free. This is absolutely your inheritance. Why are you paying for any of it? Cut it out. Oh, one of my favorite things are vehicle gardens. Trucks like SUVs, and then also trucks with like utility beds. Those can be turned into gardens as well for those that are living in their cars. Being the same way that you build an elevated bed, garden bed in your backyard, is the exact same way that you can build an elevated garden bed on the back of your truck or on the roof of your truck. And you can also create a water filtration or irrigation system with the same structure, especially if you have like a rooftop garden on your SUV. All you do is build out the perimeter, so obviously your food and your produce and things don't fall off the sides. You create your tubing for your water filtration and collection system. You create a wired fencing over